Hi, writers. My guest today, Elna, is someone I've been following since the very start of my freelance writing journey. So I'm super excited that I got her on the podcast today. Very similar to my story of getting started in my freelance business. It took Elna about 6 months to be earning a full-time income as a part-time freelance writer. And now she's helping thousands of writers find their first freelance writing job and make a full-time living. So Elna is a professional freelance writing coach and mentor, as well as one of the leading writing experts in helping you fine tune your onboarding process, increase your value, and find a new career out of your writing. Something I'm excited to discuss with Elna today is managing a freelance writing business while also being a mom or caretaker. So if you're new here, I'm Christine. I teach writers how to build their freelance writing business from scratch by landing high-paying clients on LinkedIn. And let's get right into the interview with Elna. Elna, thank you again for coming on today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm sorry. I just heard my twins. My twins are home right now, running across the hallway. And I'm like, oh, are they going to open the door right now and disrupt me? Because that's normal for me with my twins. I have twins and I've been doing this, their whole lives practically. But thank you so much. This is exciting. I recently found your YouTube's channel and been watching, and all the things that you're teaching about LinkedIn is really cool. I think there was one thing you mentioned and I immediately did. I'm like, oh, I have to do this thing that she told me. So you provide some really cool tips. I'm really excited about that. And just talking to your audience. I mean, this is nice to get to know other people and other writers in this community.
Yes, I love it. And if the twins do run in, it'll be totally on brand for the conversation. So no worries there. So take me back a little bit, Elna, your backstory, how you got into freelancing and why you chose this career path. It's something I'm always really interested in with guests, is like what drove you toward freelance writing?
Yes, my twins were probably around 15 months old. I'm thinking around that time when I actually decided to do freelance writing. Before that, I was thinking about maybe doing virtual assistants, doing something online. I was home. I wanted to stay home and I needed to find a way to at least contribute to the finances. Before all of this, I was in the teaching. I was a special education teacher. I was in the school system and I knew I didn't want to go back to that. And fortunately, with my husband working online himself, he's a web developer. He naturally told me, well, why don't you do something like being a virtual assistant or doing some staff writing? So I didn't know any of this. It was completely new to me. He actually directed me to a couple of bloggers that were also writers. And so I was reading their blog posts and how they were getting writing jobs online. So I was thinking, wow, this is kind of interesting. And virtual assistant stuff wasn't very interesting to me because, well, I'm not the greatest with managing my inbox, for example. I just opened my inbox and I have 50 new replies. I'm not a type A person. I guess you have to be type A to be sort of like that virtual assistant. I'm more the creative side. I guess I'm a type B person. So writing to me always was something that I gravitated towards. In high school, I did poetry and I did creative writing. So it's always something along those lines that I'm interested in creating. So it just fit nicely that I found or lucked into freelance writing. It was something that was presented to me and I learned more about it. And here I am today. It's been 6, 7 years now. Yeah, almost
I love
8.
it.
Almost 8, I think. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I agree with you about the virtual assistant. I don't feel like I'm the most detail oriented person. And I do feel like that's a very process heavy type of job. You and I probably need the help of a virtual assistant with things that we're doing. So
Definitely. Yeah.
one of the most common questions I got, because my audience was super excited that I was speaking to you, was where to even start. What mindset tips can you give those who are just starting out, or maybe they're just flirting with the idea they want to pursue a full-time freelance business, but they're just concerned about their first priority being a mom or a caretaker?
Yeah. I mean, for me, what I found was I was excited for starting something new. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I was taking care of my twins. I had my mother-in-law help me. My husband was home. Everyone was home. And so I was fortunate to get that child respite stuff. So my mother-in-law would take the twins out for a walk on the stroller for a couple hours, and then I'd put them down for a nap. So I had a lot of time to myself. And I guess I don't consider myself a super mom, but I had everything ready. Like I had all their bottles ready. I had everything washed. I had and then nothing for me. Like I was just sitting there with really nothing to do. And I found there was pockets of time in my day that I wanted to do something that was not all baby stuff. I love my babies at the time, but that's all I was talking about. The twins and their diaper schedule and their feeding schedule and their napping schedule. That was the conversation. And for me, I needed more than that. I needed more stimulation, I guess. So I found just finding something, whether it could be a creative hobby, it could be gardening, it could be knitting, or it could be something business oriented. For me, it was learning about online writing, content marketing. Those are the things that really got me excited. And I found that I was a better mom because of that, because I was happy during the day. I could be present with my twins, going to the park and feeding them and having fun like that. And then when they went to nap or when they went down for the night, then I could do my things. And I found that was a really nice balance. With it also depends, for as far as the mindset, I would not have done freelance writing if my twins were newborns. In the first year, there would have been no way I could have done freelance writing in the first 12 months. There are moms out there that are doing that. And I'm so jealous. And I'm like, wow, they are doing an amazing job. But that's something that I couldn't have done. I had the twins, and the first year I was like a zombie. So there was no way I could really focus on something else. It was just my twin universe kind of thing. So, as far as the mindset, I think it's just allowing yourself that there's more to life than being a mom. You don't have to identify yourself as a mom. You can be a mom with a business or a mom with something else. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times when you do become a mom, people just identify you as that. And for me, I didn't want that, I guess. I wanted to be more than just that.
And this is a little bit off topic, but I'm in a nutrition coaching program right now. And the coach who leads it gave us this 8 spheres of life exercise. And the dieting and the eating and the exercise, that's one sliver of life. And then there's your spiritual life, your family life, your friendships, your hobbies. So it just reminded me as you were speaking that we sometimes can get consumed with one area. And that segues very nicely into the next question, which is the guilt. Because for me, I know I get too focused on work and I know I need to devote more time to, other spheres of my life. But I think for moms particularly and caretakers, maybe people who are taking care of elderly, there is a guilt or a shame that comes with saying what you just said, which is this isn't all I want to be. I do want more. So what would you say to moms who have the urge for more, but they feel that guilt?
Yeah, guilt is a huge thing, I think, with moms. For me in particular, too, I knew that if I let work creep in during my playtime with my twins, that if I was constantly thinking about a blog post idea or constantly thinking about pitching to this brand or that, I knew if I slipped into that, I really had to stop myself, because I didn't want to have that guilt. I didn't want to be just my body there sitting down playing tea time, but not engaging with my twins. So you have to make it a conscious effort in the beginning, because I don't know about other people, but for me, I was extremely excited about this new opportunity. And so I had to reel myself in and be, okay, I am going to play Play-Doh with my twins, and we're going to really just do some hardcore stuff. We're going to be building and we're going to have lots of fun. I really had to get myself all hyped up. This is what we're going to be doing. And for me, the guilt only crept in is if I was consciously thinking about business when I knew I shouldn't be. People are fortunate when they go to work, they can leave work behind, right? And they come home. I need to do that because I work from home. I need to leave, I'm in my office. So I think that's a big help for me is if I have a designated space, I can leave as soon as I leave the door and I go downstairs. I am in mom mode. When I come upstairs to my office, I'm in work mode. And so I really need those dichotomy kind of situating myself to have and allow myself to have that time and not feel guilty. My twins know after all these years that if my doors close, hopefully they won't bother me, but I'm not going to yell at them if they come in. That's life. You have to be aware of that. There might be times where you're stressed out because of a deadline. And I know for me, when I get stressed out, I get very agitated. So of course there's going to be times where, I might yell at my twins for, hey, I'm really busy here. You need to knock on the door for me, but I think over the years, I've really worked on that. And I think I've created a nice balance where I don't feel guilty anymore. They know I have my work time, and I make it a conscious effort to have my workday end at like 2:30 or something. So I work from 9 to 2 every day, and then I'm downstairs for the rest of the day. I can do something like that. And I've created the schedule so that that happens.
I love that. I see how you've communicated with your twins, but something that my audience really wanted to know was communicating with clients when
Sure.
those emergencies come up. I think we're moving toward a world where, especially with the blend of remote work and this hybrid work, I think it's okay if you have screaming kids in the background, it's okay. But I do think this is still a concern, especially those who are taking care of elderly. What if I can't make a deadline? I have a sick parent or baby, and I need to be called away at a moment's notice, and they're terrified of what, and I would be too, because you want to present a professional front to your clients and make them think you're reliable. So what would you say to people who have those concerns?
I can see that as a valid concern, but honestly, Christine, I only worked when my twins were napping. If they were sick, like I said, I was in mom mode for that day. And I made sure that my deadlines did not run my business. I made my own deadlines. I decided when to be done with my client work a week before it was due. I had to set up those parameters as a mom so that I could calculate risks between the week that I was done with a client piece and turning it in, that there might be an emergency happening. I think I've done a good job with the clients that I've had. Actually, a lot of them don't give me deadlines because they know that I'm sort of in this sphere of writing the long form content and conversion copywriting content, that they know that it takes time. So they don't put pressure on me to get it done in 2 weeks or get it done in the month. I have a client that does it quarterly, like get it done this quarter. That's great. I love those clients, and I've been working with those types of clients. So, if you have a client that is a stickler for deadlines, a stickler for words, I wouldn't work with them. I would complete my piece and move on, because I want to find clients that value my time, that understand my time. I don't tell my clients that I'm a mom, but they must assume that I am from whatever looking me up. But I don't make the conversation that I'm a mom anywhere in my conversation with clients unless they become more friendly. I do have a long-term client where every email I say, how are things going in England? My twins are going to be starting school next week. It's really crazy here, because I've developed that relationship with that one client. But I'm not going to do that with any new client that I've picked up or certain other clients that I have. But yeah, I think it's just, I would be careful not to put yourself in that position where you have a deadline and you haven't done your work within a time frame. Give yourself a week, especially if you're a mom. Give yourself a long buffer before anything is due. That's my suggestion. That's always worked for me.
Yeah, and I love that, because when you're just starting out in freelance writing and you don't have a mentor, what you just said, freelancers don't have access to the information. I could imagine a lot of freelancers right now are saying, wait, I didn't even know that that's something I could look for in a client, is a client that assigns me quarterly work up front. Because I know for me, Elna, I started working with agencies a little bit in the beginning. I had agency clients instead of working directly for the client, and they were like, same day turnaround, go, go. And I was just like, oh, this is how it is. But it turned out that they were just really difficult and they weren't great, people to work for. But I had to go through that and blame myself and beat myself up. So I want all writers who are listening to know, hey, there is a client out there that's going to be reasonable and is going to actually put the effort in to be a good client for you. I think that's the big reframe, is that we think we have to be perfect for clients. I hire freelance writers now, and I know that my top priority, maybe it's because I was a freelance writer, but my top priority is having those good relationships and keeping the writer on. And writers don't realize that if you're doing a good job, they should be going out of their way to keep you happy and maintain that relationship.
Oh, I have two ghostwriters for me, because I don't only have my site, elnacain.com. I have multiple other sites with other writers that are writing the content for me. And I value the writers that I hire. Not all of them are core students of mine. I find a blogger that's a really engaging writer. Honestly, when I go online and read blog posts, if it doesn't hook me, then there's no point in me reading it. So when I find content that hooks me and I find the writer, I'm going to reach out to them. And I had this one writer who pitched their rate, and it was such a low rate. I'm like, I'm going to start you here because you're worth it. And then over the time, every year I give her a raise, because for her, I'm trying to tell her, be confident in asking me. I want you to, I'm not necessarily mentoring her, but I want her to feel confident that her writing is valuable, and I'm giving her screenshots of it ranking in Google or things like that for her to command higher rates with other clients. Cause I think she's in the same boat with you with doing agency work. And so, I've never worked with an agency, but I know other people have. A lot of course students are also on Upwork, which I never even talk about Upwork. I have no idea why they're on Upwork, but whatever. It's whatever they can find clients and whatever they want to do. I'm not, a stick. You have to do this and you have to do this. My teaching is a variety of methods. I don't stick to one thing, and I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I think if you can find work in different avenues, I'm going off topic now, but if you can find work in different avenues, I mean, that's the best deal for you. So then you know where to find work and you're never looking for work. But as far as telling yourself, yeah, you can find clients that meet your standards. In the beginning, that may not happen. In the beginning, get work, get experience, learn negotiating, learn your value, learn to not be afraid to raise your rate. These are things that are all learning things in the first year. I think in the first year, even 2 years, it took me, what was it? 2 or 3 years to offer long form writing, like 3 years of me writing on my own blog and learning about it, that I can offer long form writing or SEO writing to clients. It's just recently that I did SEO writing, offering that service, because I had to learn how to do that for my own sites. I had to learn about SEO on my own to feel confident. And that you're going to be learning. And then once you learn those skills, you can command higher rates and get better clients.
I love that. And I love what you said about recommending that a writer ask for a little bit more, because in a selfish way, it's almost like we do it for ourselves so that the market itself, these clients, once they hear a really low rate, then they're going to expect the next writer to write for a really low rate. So that's why I always harp on this: raise your rates and look at what industry standards are and try to get yourself up there, because it will change the expectation of clients as a whole.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true.
What advice would you give freelancers about time management and how to schedule their day to make this work? Because there's a lot of questions I got about juggling, the housework, everything, and actually some questions about outsourcing too. So I know you've spoken a little bit about how you schedule your day, but can you take a deeper dive into that?
Sure. My schedules have changed throughout the years. When my twins were still napping, the glorious days when they were napping, they napped twice a day for like 3 hours at a time. It was just beautiful. I had all this free time to work with clients and to build my business, basically. So I only worked when they napped, basically. So that was like 4 hours a day. I had 4 hours uninterrupted time to work on my business. But if you don't have that, you can still grow your business with 1 hour a day. If you only have 1 hour in the morning to work on your business, then, make that time super optimized for what you need the most. And if you have no clients, your whole hour is outreach and pitching. That's all you have to do until you get a client. Once you have a client, your schedule changes to now writing for that client, but still trying to get another client. You're managing your time in a way where you have to focus on your highest, I guess, ROI tasks, what's going to bring you the clients, what's going to bring you the money. And you can do that in an hour a day. It's going to take you longer, and you can maybe only work with one client. That's fine. I don't think I've worked more than in a set period of time. I'm trying to think. I've only worked with probably 3 clients at the most. And one of them was an ad hoc client whenever he needed content. So I never pushed, sorry, I have an alarm. I never pushed myself to work with multiple clients, and because also my rates too, I had enough income coming in with my 3 clients that I didn't have to. But I realized with some writers that you have to have more than 3 clients. You might need up to 5 clients. I realized that. Make sure you have room in your schedule to accommodate that. If you don't, if you get a new person coming in asking for, can you do this? I don't know I don't do social media writing, but if they said I need 50 social media posts, like, holy shit, I don't have that time, but I still want to work with this client. Offer something else. I can get you 15 highly optimized social media posts in that time frame. Negotiate if you really want to work with that client, and so that it fits your time. It's going to be a while. For me, I'm not the best at managing my time, but I know that if I work when they're sleeping, when they went to school, when they started going to school, they're not in school right now. They're doing online school, but they're going to go to school next week. So that's going to be a new schedule, but they do online school, but they do it downstairs. So again, I come upstairs to do my work when they're in online school, and I only get the time that they're in school, and I don't work during the day. So I stop at the 2:30 because they're out of school. And then when they go to bed, they're going to bed later now, but around 8 or 9, I might work for just another hour, and then that's it. So I try not to let my work fill my day, I guess. I don't want it to. The reason why we became freelancers and wanting to work from home is to set our own schedule. I want to have that daytime to go do stuff and to do some baking or whatever I need to do. I don't want to be working during that time.
Yeah, that is the best thing about freelancing, is being able to work your schedule around what you want to do and then fit the work around that, versus every other job out there where you need to schedule your whole life around the work, right? It's interesting that you said you constantly change your schedule and you're not perfect at managing your time. I think there's this impression that to make this work, you need to get on some militant schedule, and it's okay if it's messy. It's okay if you have to change. And one of the questions that I saw in a Facebook group for you was like, what do you do when your child goes from this age to toddler? I forget exactly what they said, but it was something about the age progression. But what you said makes sense. They're going to have different needs. They're going to have a different schedule. Therefore, your schedule is going to mold to that. And there's this need to pivot.
Yeah. I mean, when my twins lost their naps, it was like a unicorn died that day. I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do with my business? I expected to have like a 4-hour workday, and now it's dropped down to a 2-hour workday. I had to learn how to readjust. I guess selfishly made them go to bed just a little bit earlier so that I can work just a little bit. Those are little things that I did. They were happy to go to bed at like 6 o'clock at night. And so I had a couple of hours, they were little, but they dropped their nap. So of course they had to go to bed earlier in my head. That's what I was thinking. But it's just things like that. And sure, your kid may not be an avid napper like my twins were. I understand that. And work in the evening, work in the morning. There are writers that I've known that work earlier before they have their real job. So they'll get up at 5 and work for a couple hours before they have to head to work or go to the gym or whatever at 7. That's great for them. I can't do that, but I can work in the evening. So do what works, fit that schedule and adapt when your children are growing up, losing their naps, they're learning to walk, potty training, all these things that come up. I mean, as long as you have that night, as long as they go to bed at night, work, and if you have to work Saturday morning, then do it. I try not to work on the weekends because of course it's family time. But if I have that deadline, that, my internal deadline, I need to get that client piece, I'm going to have to work on it on Saturday morning. I have to work on it, at nighttime kind of thing. Then do it. It's your schedule. So do what works.
You mentioned in the beginning how you need to just work for some more clients, and then eventually you can consolidate your client load. And I always tell my students too, that's the goal, to work for less clients for more money. And it's why I recommend choosing a niche. And I want you to talk a little bit about choosing a niche, because this is so controversial in the freelance writing mentoring community. A lot of freelance writers say that there's no reason to choose a niche. And I understand the reasoning, because you say, okay, you should open yourself up to everything that comes your way. But I believe my ability to go from no writing experience to full-time freelance is because I chose my niche and built that expertise. And I could see that being a time saver for people who do need to switch from client to client. What are your thoughts on niching?
I think it's a money grabber. You can make more money if you have I call it a niche, but a niche. I mean, I tell my students in the beginning, if you don't know what to write about, pick 3 different topics you like and see the clients in those topics, in those industries. So some of my students are like, well, what about book reviews? I don't know. Go and see if there are businesses that's like sell book reviews. For me, it doesn't even, no, of course not. You can't make money, but I've seen people who can make money with book review writing. For me, the longest time, I thought you can't make money as a fiction writer. Now I'm finding you can totally make money as a fiction writer. Uh, it's opening the doors to all those things. But in the beginning, pick I three, and then you will find which niche will give you clients and the ones that you like. So in the beginning, I don't remember any name. I chose parenting and natural health and something else. I don't even remember psychology of all things or something, because I have a background in psychology. So I thought I could maybe find some clients in the psychology industry, which was really hard, but I actually did a couple years later. But so I picked those and I ended up getting sucked into marketing. I was like, wow, I need to market my website. How do I do that? I go and search marketing tactics online. Oh, I figured out it's called digital marketing. Oh, it's content marketing. Oh, these are the ways to market your business. I fell in love learning about a new topic. So what did I do? I just had it and I landed clients in that industry. I don't know if it was lucked out or not, or if I lucked out into it. They were approaching me, but I must have put it on my like LinkedIn profile that I was like digital marketing, right? I must have done something to show people that I was into digital marketing. But I would also put in my hire me page that I also do parenting topic. Like I put there, I also do parenting. I also market myself as an ebook cover designer. I really was trying to see what was working for me. And I think that's okay. I often say your niche will reveal itself to you. The more you sort of get into whatever topic, it'll reveal itself to you. And then clients you'll start attracting the right clients. I don't know. It just seems to happen to me and a lot of my students. That's what ended up happening. But I guess sometimes you can pick wrong, but then you can pivot. Why not pivot?
Yeah, what you were saying before with the types of niches you chose in the beginning, psychology, parenting, and kind of
Natural
like
health.
natural health, those are all the niches that writers who come into my course love that. And I see why, because how much fun is it to write on those topics when you're interested in them? And I like what you said with you gravitated towards digital marketing because there's such a need for it. And I think that's kind of the approach I took with mine because I am not a techie type person. There's so many people who just nerd out on that stuff, but I had a background in sales and selling software specifically. So I said to myself, well, I've used a CRM. I've seen the process of my company implementing CRM. I know how annoying it is to update a CRM. So maybe I'd be able to write for that audience. So I chose a not fun niche that I knew was really profitable. And I do recommend that approach for people who are starting from scratch and want to start making a full-time income. Because I think the more fun niches can be a little bit harder to break into. I think there's a lot of competition. I don't want to deter anyone from starting it, but digital marketing and things that are a little bit more complex maybe can be a little bit dry. There's more opportunity there. And if you can make it fun, then you're a great writer.
Yeah. I mean, the technical IT, all those types of niches where it's not fun, but if, like you said, if you can make it fun for the client, and clients want that, they don't want, you can sometimes tell when you go to a blog of a business and the client is writing it dry and I don't know, they know their own product, so they don't know how to explain it well in a blog post. So, those are the clients that will hire a writer because they know that a writer can make it more conversational. I think the biggest thing with any niche is to learn those writing skills of online writing, like conversational writing, not necessarily dumbing down your writing, but realizing that I think the quote is like between like a 4th and 8th grade level type of writing, making it so that it's super easy to read. And I think I lucked into that. I don't know. People say to write how you speak, but I don't write how I speak because I think I speak different. I use a lot of likes and I don't do that when I write, but well, I don't know. Maybe it's just my brain and how I write things. I never really took a writing class. I never really did any of that stuff. I just wrote and read. And I think having your own blog helps too. Helps you with your niche specialization. You can write about it on your side. I did that. I wrote, but I did it for a different audience. So I think one of the questions I get is, well, if I pick health, can I write it on my blog and for my clients? And I was like, well, you're going to get burnt out. You're going to be writing about the same things. You might get burnt out, but try a different audience because that might work. So for me, I write about Pinterest marketing for like Etsy store owners for my clients, but I'll write about Pinterest marketing for mom bloggers, or I'll write about Pinterest marketing for freelancers. It's slightly different. And I'm not going to get burnt out talking about Pinterest marketing, about content marketing, about SEO, things like that I would write for clients on my own sites because it's for a different audience. So I think if you want to know your niche inside and out, do write about it frequently. That's my suggestion.
I love what you said about going on a company's website and being able to tell that the client themselves wrote it. The big misconception and the big fear that a lot of freelancers have when they're starting out is, well, do I know enough about this niche, about this industry to be able to write? And something I say, I'm curious to know if you agree, but being the outsider, being the unbiased person who does not know the product, this is especially true for technology and SaaS. But if you don't know every feature of the product and you're not super ingrained in the jargon, it actually helps you as a writer to speak in that more simple language. Because if you as a writer can say, oh, they want me to talk about this, but the way that this is said, I can't really understand it. Well, you're empathizing with the audience because they might not understand it either. I mean, it all depends who you're writing for, but I think being a step removed from the company's product, but just understanding the audience is your biggest asset. And you don't need to be insecure about being this super expert.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree to that to a certain extent. I know for me, if I don't know too much about the product, I do have to do some research. So, for example, if Ahrefs hired me for writing on their blog, I'm only going to apply to a job for them if I have been using Ahrefs for the past couple of years. I feel confident because I know the tool for me. I don't know, like you said, I don't know the tool inside and out. I really don't know how real businesses with a team would use Ahrefs, but I know how to use it as a solopreneur. I know how to use it as a freelancer. I know how to use it as a solo business person. So my view would be different if that's what Ahrefs wanted on their blog. If they want to speak to other solopreneurs and freelancers, then my content would speak to them and they would hire me for that. But if they want a writer that knows about small businesses and a team of marketers and all that, then they're going to hire that writer, right? I try not to do or be what I'm not, So with the client and understanding their product, it's to a point. I write posts about a roundup of the different editing tools you would see online. Well, I need to know some of them at least, because again, for time management, especially for me, I don't want to spend 10 hours writing this blog post because I spend 7 hours learning the tool. Like I need to know how to use Canva. I need to, on my own time, learn PicMonkey, learn, I don't even know, all the other editing tools out there. I need to know that. So I think it's funny. I sort of, when I talk about this, I think of doctors, when you go see a doctor and they're overweight and they're like, you need to eat less. I'm like, really? But you're not showing me. You're not showing me. Or a doctor who smokes. I don't know. I just find it so funny. So if you're a writer in the digital marketing niche, you need to know your stuff. You need to have an email list. You need to develop online products. You need to do all these things. If you're an SEO writer, your blog better be ranking in Google. These are things that I feel, because I have that already over the years, that I am attracting a bigger clients and bigger brands because I'm well versed in sort of that industry. Now, a recent client hired me and I have no idea what they do. My husband tried to explain it to me and I still don't know what it is, but they're hiring me for SEO writing for one product. So, I'll see what happens. They haven't given me the topic yet because it's for the second quarter, but I still took on that client, even though, like you said, I'm not well versed in their products. My husband is. He said he has a subscription for one of their things. So he's aware of it. So I can always rely on him if I need a little bit of help, but I'm still excited to work for that client. They obviously found me. So, I mean, they have enough, I guess, confidence that I could do what they want kind of thing. So I'm going to step up to the plate and do my best.
I love that. And I love what you said about creating your own stuff, because I know for me, my clients were not usually sharing with me results. So I would write a blog post or an email campaign, and I would get a good job, and they'd give me more work. So I knew I was doing something right, but they were never letting me into those internal conversations when they talk about the results. So for me, when I started paidcopywriter.com and actually started using my own email marketing software where I could measure click-through rates, measure open rates, that's when things started to really click for me, and I understood more what I was doing for my clients. So I think that's great advice for writers, is to walk the talk in that sense.
I mean, if it's not a requirement, but it's helpful. Now because of that, on my LinkedIn profile, I put something like with real world experience. So they know that I'm a digital marketer with real world experience because I have these things, but I didn't put that on for the first couple years of as being a writer in that niche. I needed to have a little bit more proof in my own world to understand for me if I market that it's true. And so only within recently that I decided to do something like that, to really market the aspect that I have these credentials. And what's so funny is there's clients that want that thought leadership content, that want something from that expert. And so I'm now being approached to write about my own story for clients, which is kind of interesting. So it just all comes full circle, I guess, for me.
I love that. I mean, that's such an honor to be approached. That's the most fun writing project you can do. This is something I didn't preempt you ahead of time, but I do want to talk about SEO. So writers ask me, okay, are freelance writers expected to know SEO? This is something I struggled with too. Can you talk us through what the expectations are and what your journey was in learning that and getting to the point where you're confidently marketing yourself as an SEO writer?
I don't think every writer needs to know SEO because it's all based on your niche. The last content piece that I wrote had no SEO to it. I wrote it just as the information to write it. Almost not like a journalist, but I just wrote the piece. The client had no expectation for ranking or SEO or things like that. And they're a huge brand because their brand isn't focused on ranking, even though they naturally rank. Big brands, they naturally rank because they have a huge website and they have a huge domain authority. So they know that. So they don't need writers to highly optimize their content. I've only had one client. Yeah, I think one client, I'm thinking, that had keywords and related keywords in mind. They gave me a huge sheet of a main keyword and 100 different related keywords that they wanted for me to put in my content. That was the only time. And it was like not a huge brand, but a well-known brand in digital marketing. And that was the only client. But all my other clients, like Opt-in Monster, never asked me because they either have in-house writers that do it for them already, or they're already ranking for whatever their industry term is, email marketing, whatever, if that's what they're ranking for Opt-in Monster or Opt-in Forms or whatever that's their service. But you know what I mean? So if you're a pet writer or a health writer, you might come, with some clients that want an SEO writer for their pet food company. Yes. Well, then in that case, I mean, you need to understand the basics of SEO and what it is. I don't know. It's a tough question for me because I already know it. So, but I get clients that don't always ask me for it. So it's not necessary, but I do know for those small businesses, I guess small businesses that need to be on Google and rank, they would probably prefer a pet writer or whatever niche writer they are with some SEO experience. There has been some talk in my Facebook group about learning SEO and SEO tools. So, become familiar with the free SEO tools and be aware, I guess, of the SEO concept, I guess, of what it is, how to optimize your content. I honestly don't think it's a necessary thing for many writers. But I could be wrong. Things could be changing. Things are changing all the time. There's so many new things that are happening. But yeah, so it could be the year where it's all SEO and this is where it's going to flourish. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I fall into that category of knowing basic general SEO. I stay up on the trends. I listen to Neil Patel on YouTube, and he's always giving the updates. And SEO, unfortunately, it is something that's constantly evolving. It used to be something where you stuffed keywords into an article and the search engine didn't care about the quality of the article. But now the search engine has gotten smarter and knows to rank quality content, and they want to know, did that person have to click back into their original search to pull up another article, or did they get everything they needed from this one article? So I'm one of those people who I know general SEO, but if it was my job to pull up that keyword research tool and say, this is exactly how we're going to write this post and structure this post, I don't feel super confident with that.
The more you talk about this, the more it makes me think, yeah, it's almost better because Google is smart enough to not really know much about SEO and to really not know what the keyword the client wants you to write about. I honestly think for clients and businesses that really know about SEO, they're going to hire an SEO agency, let them do the back end, the underpinnings of SEO, the meta descriptions, site speed, all that stuff. That's what's going to help. But the content, as far as, well, I want to rank for, I don't know, teeth brushing for babies or something. Well, then give the writer the name of the blog post and let them write it, because they're naturally going to write about that topic. They're naturally going to say that topic. They're going to say it in a different way, probably too, because as a writer, you don't want to be redundant and say the same thing over and over again. You want to vary your sentence structures. You want to vary what you say. So I think it's almost better. And I think that's why I've only had one client out of all the clients I've worked for that had given me an actual SEO keyword. But all my other clients, I even worked for an allergy kit company. They never gave me SEO content, but they were doing well in Google. So it's just, I think it's even better to, have an understanding, but don't worry about it. Because in the end, Google knows it's getting so smart that it knows that if you're writing about babies brushing your baby's teeth, that's what the post is about.
Yeah, I like that you brought up all the other factors though, because as writers, there's actually only so much we have control over. Keywords are one aspect of many. There is, like you said, the site speed, there's the user experience, there's backlinking, all of these things that as a freelance writer, you don't have control over. So I would say that I agree with you where it's probably becoming less and less important, but I also want writers to know that it's okay to not, because sometimes you're on a call with a client and they say, oh, would you do keyword research? And you feel obligated, or you feel like you're not an expert or you're not professional unless you can say you've done that. So I don't want writers to feel insecure in that sense.
Well, you just brought up something else too. I only do writing. I will not be the content strategist for the company. I will not do the keyword analysis for the company. I mean, I have the tools to do it, but it's not my job. My job is to deliver content for them. If they want it keyworded and optimized, I can do that for them. Just give me the keyword then if you want that. Or, on my own, I recently submitted a guest post and I decided to find a keyword for that guest post. And the guest poster person was very happy about that, because I did an extra little thing for them. Those are the things. But I see so many writers now that are they're a writer and a content strategist and holy moly, a content strategist is its own job by itself. It's a huge job. I didn't come to be a freelance writer to have a full-time job with this one company doing content strategy for them for the next 2 years. That's a full-time job right there. For me, I'm just a writer. And because of that, maybe I can work with different brands. I can work with different companies. That's what I like. I like writing. So that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to do the writing, and maybe I'll improve my writing skill. I will find different things to write about, different content types to write about, because that's what I want to do to elevate my writing and to increase my skills so that I can ask for more. For me, I can have a higher rate now because I have all this behind me. I've learned all these things, right? But I don't want to market myself as SEO analysis and writer. Why? Focus on one thing and become really good at that,
Yeah, don't try to be all the things. I 100% agree with that. Can I ask you if you're comfortable sharing? You said you have multiple sites.
Yes.
Could you let us behind the curtain in a sense of your income streams? Because I think this is something myself for sure and the audience is very curious about, because there's so many ways to make money online and writing is just one of them.
Yes, but it's the basic block of all the stuff you do online is writing, right? So I have my Elna Cain site and my twinsmommy.com site. Those are my two main businesses. So twinsmommy.com is for mom bloggers. I end up writing digital marketing content, social media, a lot of Instagram stuff and social media marketing tactics and how to create products and things and email marketing. Anyways, that's all for mom bloggers. And then my Elna Cain site is for freelancers. But I have these niche sites. Oh, I have 2 contributor sites. I have Freelancer FAQs. So that's freelancing topics where writers can come and guest post. And I have imperfectlyperfectmama.com, which is a guest posting for mom bloggers. So I have those 2 contributing sites. And then I have Smart Mom Ideas, which is a parenting and pregnancy site. So I have content about my journey as a mom on there, but I hire writers to write the content because I don't really enjoy writing. I honestly don't enjoy writing a lot of parenting content personally. I mean, I live it so much, so I don't know, I just don't want to write about it. So I have writers to do that. And then I just started a new site. It's brand new, so I won't share it, but it's brand new. And then I have a lifestyle site, but it's just sitting there. So it's just those main sites, which is Twins Mommy and Elna Cain, that I really focus my energy. As far as income, the other sites I put ads on. So once they reach a certain amount of page views, you can go into like something like Mediavine, which is an ad agency. There's other ones that you don't need as many page views, but it's all based on impression clicking. So get people to the site and you'll start making money based on the impressions. And so I do a lot of marketing on Pinterest and a little bit on SEO now to get those clicks, to get those people to those sites to make money. As far as income, it fluctuates. I do Amazon marketing. I don't make a lot of money on Amazon. I think I make like $200 a month on Amazon marketing for some reason. It's a low commission. So you recommend products, Amazon products, and you have a special link. People click on it and you get a kickback, a small commission. And I think it's like 2 or 3% now. So I have that on the sites. So affiliate marketing, it's called. I have ads on those sites. And together most of the sites make, I'd say under 5,000 a month total. My Twins Mommy makes more. I have ads on that site. So that makes a little bit more. And I have a course on that site. I don't have a lot of products on Twins Mommy. I find the mom blog niche very hard to really make headway. I don't know. I get a lot of what's it called, imposter syndrome. I don't know why, but I get in that whole industry and that whole niche. I find it really hard to really stand out. There's so many voices. But anyway, so I honestly don't know how much I make per month on that site. Because my main focus is on my freelancing site. My freelancing site makes the most money. So with the affiliates that I have job boards that I'm affiliate for, web hosting that I'm affiliate for, and then I have several products that I created. So I do make a healthy, every year, 6 figures on all that. So,
oh my gosh, major goal.
yeah, I mean, it's fun and everything, but I still want to do more. Money is not really a big motivator for me, although it's really nice. People say I should price my products, I don't know, $800 or something. Like, that's ridiculous. I don't know. I feel like because I'm starting a business for these people, so it's worth like $1,000, but I sell it for like $195. I don't know. I'm happy with that. I feel for me, it's not the money. I see so many I follow this other marketer and I was so excited for her program and it comes out and it's like $2,000. I'm like, are you serious? I don't know. I just find it just amazing how these people, and I guess they get some clients or get some students from that, but I don't know. For me, I want to have products available for everyone. I mean, I think that might be a wrong strategy. People are like niche down to something and one audience. But honestly, Christine, I'm getting emails from high school students that want to get into this. I have tons of emails from elderly people that are in their 70s emailing me. I just got one from some guy who's 70 that's interested. I'm getting people of all different ages, of all different types of people. So I want it to be available, my products to be available for them. Maybe I could make more if I charged more. I have no idea.
I think you have the right instinct because, like you said, people who are just starting out, if they are in high school or if they are maybe transitioning, they're not going to be able to afford a $2,000 course. But what I will say for charging a lot for the course is that I do think people take things more seriously and they invest themselves more when there's more skin in the game.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yes, I know for me, I actually did take a $2,000 course in the past year. And
well, me too. But it's a Facebook ads course. Of course, I'm going to pay over $1,000 for that because I know the value, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I think if I was focused on, if I only did cold pitching. If I only did one thing, I think you can probably charge more, right? There are writers, you have all about LinkedIn. So I can see the value of that. But since mine's more like an A to Z course, it's more general. That's how I feel. But I do know I'm underpricing. Everyone tells me that. But I'm fine with it. I'm really honestly fine with it.
I think that's a testament to the value that they get out of your course, is to say, you could be charging more for
I
this.
know.
I got so much, like, that's huge.
Thanks.
But you are a great example of actually niching down pretty far, because all of your niche sites, a few of them were in the parenting zone, but you still decided to section them off.
Yeah, it's hard because Smart Mom Ideas is parenting based. And so is Imperfectly Perfect Mama. Those two sites are very similar, but you're right. I'm finding that it's a different audience for my IPM audience because it's guest posters. So it's those guest posters are bringing their audience to share their content. So it's a little bit different than my Smart Mom Ideas, which is parenting. It's mostly pregnancy based content. So it's really much on natural labor and giving birth and your registry and things like that, setting up your nursery. So it's a little bit different than the IPM content, which is more attachment parenting, more parenting content. But yeah, you can really niche down in your niche, whatever it is. My twins mommy isn't really niched down, but it's niched in the demographic. You can niche the demographic. So the demographic for me are mom bloggers with small children. It works. My content works for that audience. But as my twins are getting older, I mean, if I'm still doing this when my twins are in high school, I mean, I'm going to probably write content about that, my twins in high school and how I'm doing this and whatever, if it needs be, if I need to talk about that kind of thing, right? Things are going to change. But yeah, niching down is important. I just thought of something, but I'm following this other blogger who only does college content. Oh my gosh. I mean, she's already making 6 figures. She's making way more because she tapped into that demographic of those college people that want to decorate their dorm room and then decorate their first apartment. So she's grabbing them. It's all home decor stuff, but she's grabbing them as college students, getting their first home, when they get married, when they have parents. Like she's like, I'm going to get them at every point of their life, because she can, because she's built this following. So it's kind of neat how you can change your demographic if you want to. But if you speak to one core audience, I think that's better than niching down necessarily your content. I do struggle with my Elna Cain because it's just all freelance writing. That's all I do is talk about freelance writing forever. And then my YouTube channel is all freelance writing. So I try to branch out a little bit. I write about how to write a case study. I'll write about writing tips now. So I'm branching out a little bit, but I can't write about my life as a mom so much on that site or even branch out into something completely different. It wouldn't work for that audience. So I've really, really sort of carved my way into that. But it can be hard to come up with content ideas. I really have to sit and think about good content ideas that's not just recycled over and over again.
It's funny, the nutrition program I'm a part of, the woman who's the coach, she was originally the college nutritionist. Now she's the wedding nutritionist. So I see the progression she's making, and it's hilarious because I'm not a college student or getting married, but I still was very drawn to her content. She was doing a lot of really cool recipe reels and going hard on Pinterest. And I had been following her for quite some time with no intention of buying anything. But then when the time came and the winter weight started creeping up and I started panicking, I was like, who do I know in this space? And this is why I love content marketing, why I'm so passionate about it, because you might not, be targeting people in the moment. They're not ready to buy at that moment. But when they do have that need, if they have been consuming your free content, they're going to go to your site. So for me, I had probably 2 people I was following on Instagram and YouTube who I knew did nutrition. And I evaluated both their programs and I enrolled in this girl's program. And I'm like, she really got me.
That's so cool. And it's so true. You're right. I have men follow me on Twins Mommy, enrolling in my Ready Set Blog for Traffic course, even though all my examples are for moms, all my examples I show in the videos, but I get men following me there, which is, I find it interesting. Same here on my Elna Cain site. It's all decked out in pink. All my images are all women, nothing about men, nothing, but that's all. I get tons of men. I don't know. But then on Freelancer FAQs, that's more for everyone. I have lots of pictures of men. I have lots of pictures of different people, young and old and all, like, just because it's all for everyone. But it's just, I find it funny how on my site, I mean, I speak to everyone, I guess. I speak from my story, but I think people, yeah, if they remember you and you have that content out, they'll remember you, which I think is interesting because it's the same with me. I follow only a couple of people because I've invested my time. I really don't have time to invest in people online. But when I do, I follow them. I'm on their email list. I listen to the podcast. Like I do all that stuff because I value their time. I value what they teach, right?
So true. Well, Elna, tell everyone where they can find you because I, like many people, am familiar with a few of your sites. I was on Freelancer FAQ, I was on Elna Cain. So, what's the best place for people to find you and connect with you?
elnacain.com. Definitely. You can follow me on Instagram if you want at Elna Cain. So go ahead and follow me there. I do some freelancing and just blogging tips too for bloggers.
Would you tell us a little bit about your course?
If you want to know,
I
it's
do.
called it's called Write Your Way to Your First 1K. And it's a 7 module course. I think there's over 60 lessons now. I keep adding more lessons, but it's basically a beginner course on becoming a freelancer, finding your specialization, building your writer platform is huge. My philosophy, I don't know if I really preach this in this podcast, but it really, when I said there's lots of methods to finding clients, but my overall brand and messaging is lead generation. It's having clients come to you. So I have a big section in my course about how to do that. How do you get clients to come to your site? You're brand new and all that stuff. And then I have modules on pitching and finding clients, a lot of stuff there. And then I have a module on writing, how to write it's mostly blog writing. So I have content on how to write SEO and blog writing and things like that, and editing your work and finding images and submitting to your client. How do you do that? It's a lot of logistics, but it's also lots of marketing. It's a marketing course, a writing course, and developing that brand basically so that clients find you.
Amazing.
That's a lot.
Well, they're learning from the best. So, Elna, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming on. This was a great conversation. I know that moms, caretakers, and people outside of the demographic are still going to get a lot of value from this. So, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to start landing high-paying freelance writing clients on LinkedIn? I have a free guide for you at paidcopywriter.com. Just go to paidcopywriter.com and go to the free download section. The link is paidcopywriter.com/LinkedIn guide if that's easier for you. But it's a free download that's going to show you step by step the steps. Wow, that's a lot of steps. Step by step, the steps. Step by steps, a roadmap for how to use LinkedIn and get yourself properly set up on that platform so you can begin confidently reaching out to your ideal clients and build the freelance business that you've been wanting to build, becoming self-employed, becoming a person who gets paid to write for a living. Download that at paidcopywriter.com/LinkedIn guide, and I look forward to seeing you there. Bye.